Asano is a poor high schooler living a miserable life after his parents abandoned him for a luxury life in Europe. However, things change one day when he gets to kiss popular girl of school and discover his own hidden abilities. With that, Asano becomes target of multiple girls who wants to use him as a power bank. A young boy is walking down a street at night when he spots a beautiful red-haired woman walking in front of him. The boy is surprised to see when the beautiful woman unbuttons her coat and starts rizzing him. The young boy is shocked to witness this as the woman approaches him presenting herself. She then puts her arms around him and smiles. Meanwhile, the boy is still in shock wondering what is happening, but suddenly the woman skins tears off as she turns into a freaking monster. The monster tells the unlucky man that she will give him ultimate climax before draining his life force. Suddenly, the monster screams as an arrow stuck straight through her head. Meanwhile, a girl is smiling from away while she licks another arrow and shoots it towards the monster. The monster head explodes while the boy is still shocked as he looks towards his savior, a girl standing on top of a house with a bow and an arrow. The following day, the boy is sitting aside while the girls in his school are doing extracurricular activities. Suddenly, one of his friends named Ukubo Naoki approaches and introduces him as Asano Shinakairo. Asano tries to tell him about what happened yesterday, but just like every anime character, he backs off in the end. The Kubo, being a cultured homie, somehow thinks that Asano is having trouble choosing the cutest girl in class. Afterwards, as both friends are walking the school hallways, Asano tells his friends about getting fired again. The Kubo consoles him for living all by himself as his parents left him for some work in Europe. He even concludes that his parents were sending him less money before, but now it is even less than that. As they are talking, a beautiful blonde-haired girl bumps into him. Seeing the girl's beautiful face, Asano apologizes. The girl suddenly steps on his foot and bows to apologize while giving a smirk and runs off apologizing. The girl stops for a moment to look back, and this reminds Asano about the same girl who saved his life the night before. The Kubo then introduces her as Sakuya Shimazu, a pretty girl from a rich family. Later, Asano can be seen with his homeroom teacher Samane Chiko, who tells him that she will allow him to do the part-time job after knowing about the nature of his job. Asano tells her that he wants to work at a kitchen. Seeing this, Asano's teacher jokingly asks him to marry her, but she also tells him that she has a perfect job for him, which is to clean chemistry prep room, as she doesn't want to do it herself. Later, while washing a glass, Asano looks outside and sees an orange cat staring at her but quickly rushes off. After cleaning, Asano hears screams and quickly rushes off. As he approaches the area, he is shocked to see two girls terrified because of another student's corpse in front of them. Asano gets close to see and asks the girls about what happened, but the girls tell them that the corpse was already there. Suddenly, a monster appears from darkness but goes away when it hears the drawing sound of an arrow. Asano leaves the girl, telling them to call an ambulance as he looks for other people in trouble. While looking for others, Asano hears voice of a beautiful girl with definitely some big treasures. Turns out, the girl is stuck because of an arrow and asks Asano to pull it out. Asano touches the arrow and feels an electric spark, but using his simp power, he manages to pull it out anyway. Suddenly, Sakuya appears and scolds him for pulling out the arrow. Asano tries to argue for doing something so bad to humans and shields her, but Sakuya tells him to look around once more, and it is another monster who quickly runs off when it sees the opportunity. Feeling dumb, Asano asks Sakuya about the monster, but she answers him with a kick that sends him flying. Sakuya then puts her foot on him, revealing to know his name as he is her enemy. She then suffocates him when he accidentally peeks into her talons. Afterwards, Sakuya reveals that there is a barrier around the school so the monster won't be able to run far away. Later, as they search for the monster, Sakuya informs him that these things are called specter, spirits, and many more. These monsters are from the world of the dead and shouldn't be allowed to exist in this realm since they live on by sucking people's life force. Later at night, the school is empty since the barrier doesn't allow normal human to stay much longer in it. Asano wonders then why he is still here, to which Sakuya reveals that she doesn't know about it. Suddenly, Sakuya hears a clock ticking and draws an arrow, but just in time she realizes that the monster is actually behind them, and with an arrow she sends him flying. As they go outside to look, they find a cat girl with an injured arm. As Sakuya is about to finish her off, Asano stops her since her arms isn't injured because of an arrow but a claw. Suddenly, thunder touches the ground and a lightning beast appears. Sakuya concludes that it can control electricity and is a very strong opponent with low 5 ranking and Spectre hierarchy. Both of them dodge the beast's first attack, but with another attack Asano get to see Sakuya's talents. The battle commences with lightning shooting from Sakuya. She gets irritated and shoots a spell-charmed arrow at the lightning beast, hitting it straight in the head. Unfortunately, her attack doesn't work. The lightning beast absorbs electricity and shoots a powerful jolt at her, but Asano saves her just in time. The fire cat girl tries to attack, but lightning knocks her back. Sakuya gets hit by another lightning strike, which tears her clothes. She shoots 2 arrows with special spells, but the beast easily deflects them. Sakuya then gets trapped in a lightning barrier, losing her energy. Asano attacks the beast, breaking the barrier and making it even angrier. The beast knocks Asano back with another jolt and starts moving towards Sakuya and Asano. Sakuya is scared until the cat girl, now in her fire cat form, comes to their rescue. She confronts the lightning beast, promising to repay Asano for saving her earlier. As the beast shoots lightning at them, something unexpected happens. Asano accidentally plants a kiss on Sakuya's lips. Surprised and a little embarrassed, Sakuya slaps him gently, realizing it was her first kiss. Suddenly, Sakuya feels a surge of spiritual energy welling up inside her. Sensing her distress, Asano offers her his jacket. With that, she takes aim with the strongest spell. The arrow manages to temporarily seal the lightning beast away, but they couldn't seal it permanently since they didn't know its true name. Grateful for the Fire Cat girl's help, Asano expresses his thanks, but Sakuya remains cautious, still pointing her arrow at her. Asano bravely steps in to shield Sakuya, but this allows the Fire Cat girl to seize the opportunity and hold him hostage. With no other choice, Sakuya reluctantly lowers her bow and arrow. She expresses her gratitude to Asano once again for saving her, and in a surprising moment, she kisses him. This kiss triggers a vision in Asano's mind, showing him a heartwarming scene of a cat being adopted. In a twist of fate, Asano utters the name Tama out of nowhere, leaving the Fire Cat girl shocked. It turns out that Tama is her true name. Seizing the chance, Sakuya attempts to seal Tama away. Overwhelmed with fear and tears streaming down her face, Tama pleads desperately, not wanting to be sealed. Moved by her vulnerability, Asano convinces Sakuya to reconsider, as Tama doesn't appear to be a threat. Sakuya ultimately spares Tama's life. Out of joy, Tama clings to Asano and refers to him as her master. That evening, Asano pays a visit to Sakuya's house and is taken aback by how messy it is. Suddenly, Nachiko appears and proceeds to enlighten Asano about the purpose of the Sakuya family. She suggests that Sakuya should hire Asano as a servant, but Sakuya is resistant to the idea. Nevertheless, Asano takes the initiative and, with the assistance of Tama, begins tidying up Sakuya's living room. Together, they work to transform the cluttered space into a more organized and welcoming environment. The next morning, the 2 girls from yesterday, Kani and Fuzuki, come to his class to say thank you for yesterday and let him know that the injured girl will recover quickly. At that moment, Sakuya walks in with a smile, saying good morning to Kani and Fuzuki. She asks him to come with her, making everyone think they know each other. He realizes that she was pretending to be someone else to hide her true personality from her classmate. Sakuya tells him that they need to put up another magical barrier because there is another dangerous specter somewhere in the school. They have to work together to find and deal with it. As they enter the nurse's office, Tama immediately clings to Asano, leaving him feeling confused. Nachiko kindly explains that specters like Tama and mystics like Sakuya have a separate name, known as their true name. When someone discovers their true name, they can get some control over them within certain limits. Curious, Nachiko asks Asano how he managed to figure out Tama's true name, but he has no idea. This leads to Tama clinging to him once again and calling him master. However, Asano is taken aback when he realizes that Tama isn't wearing any shorts. Once more, the conversation ends in a scream, and everyone quickly runs towards the sound. They end up in the girls' locker room and see that the girls are being drained of their life force by a group of rats. Sakuya, who is scared of rats, starts to shake with fear. However, Nachiko reminds her that she is the 37th head of the Sakuya clan. With that, Sakuya finds the courage to stand her ground. Tama bravely chases the rats outside, with Asano and Sakuya following behind. Meanwhile, Nachiko stays behind to take care of the injured girls. As Asano and Sakuya catch up to Tama, they realize that she is on the verge of dying as she needs life force to survive. Asano offers his own life force, but they know that would only result in his own death. With that, they come up with the idea to find the leader of the rats and have Tama devour it. This would not only save Tama's life, but also put an end to these troubling events. Suddenly, the ground opens up, and the battle leads them underground. As Sakuya prepares to attack, a rat jumps on her face, causing her to faint due to her fear. The rat then turns its attention to Asano, but Tama jumps in knowing she is dying. The horde attacks Tama, draining some of her life force, and they fuse with the leader, transforming into their original form. Asano orders Tama to take his life force and she obeys, kissing him and quickly draining his life force, leaving him unconscious. Tama not only regains her life force but also gains an exponential increase in spiritual power, allowing her to quickly defeat the leader. Asano then wakes up to see that the battle is finally over. After a few tests, they discover that Asano's act of giving his life force to Tama has not only revived her completely but also restored his own life force. It turns out he possesses a vast reservoir of spiritual energy within him, making him incredibly valuable to exorcists. and mystics like Sakuya. Now, here comes the funny part. After all that, Sakuya acts like a spoiled brat and tells Asano to do her laundry. Can you believe it? But then, her stomach starts growling, so Asano decides to be a good guy and make dinner first. What a gentleman. Later that night, Tama asks Asano if she can have a different name instead of her true name, because knowing a specter's real name can be dangerous. So, after thinking for a bit, Asano comes up with the name Tamako, and she happily accepts it. Meanwhile, Nechiko is seen talking to someone about Asano. And guess who it is? Another woman who's really eager to meet him. Looks like Asano is quite the popular guy. After cleaning Sakuya's house, Asano teases her and tells her to throw her garbage out once she's done. After listening to this, Sakuya leaves but suddenly shoots a toy arrow at Tamako for touching her stuff and threatens to seal her away. The two girls fight, but suddenly, Nechiko appears with a bunch of people loading some furniture and reveals that Asano is moving in. Earlier at school, Okubo asks Asano about his relationship with Sakuya while eating lunch. Asano tries to defend against this question. Meanwhile, Kani and Fuzuki also tease Sakuya by asking her who is making her food. Back to the present, Sakuya is against Nechiko's decision, but she reveals that it might be a hassle for Asano to travel here every day. Sakuya then raises the point that she can't live with a boy alone, to which Tamako steps forward to protect her master's cherry. Later, the trio can be seen fighting a tree specter who is using a girl as a hostage while sucking out her life force. Sakuya wants to attack, but Asano stops her. Suddenly, a wind attack strikes from behind, launched by a purple-haired girl who swiftly dispatches the specter but accidentally injures the hostage in the process. Without hesitation, another girl rushes to the injured girl's side and begins healing her wounds. Surprisingly, Sakuya knows her and introduces her as Suzuri Sakuya. Later at Sakuya's house, it is revealed that Suzuri is Sakuya's younger cousin and the girl with her, Sama Matsuri, is her attendant. However, Sakuya stands up and asks Suzuri's reason for being here, to which she replies that she wants to help her. Sakuya laughs it off by saying that Suzuri can't be serious as she destroys a specter while their job is to seal them. Suzuri then points out Tamako, to which Sakuya replies that she will eventually seal her. Seeing this, Suzuri tells Sakuya that she thinks Asano has changed her. However, Suzuri then shows her true intentions as she wants to take Asano home with her. However, Sakuya refuses as she is the one who hired him. Suzuri also concludes that she doesn't recognize Sakuya as the head of the family. Watching this drama, Asano heads over to Nechiko to ask her what's happening. Nechiko informs Asano that Sakuya is the temporary head of the family, but since she is just a child, most members of the family want Suzuri to be the head of the family. Basically, it's just a Game of Thrones. Nechiko then asks Asano whom he wants to go with, to which he sneaks out of the room saying that he is going for a shower. While taking a shower, Suzuri appears and offers to clean his back, but as every male protagonist, Asano ends up slipping and is knocked unconscious. He wakes up to find himself kidnapped by Suzuri. She reveals her intention to use his power to defeat Sakuya. Their conversation is interrupted when they notice they are being followed by black smoke. The smoke transports them to another world. Suddenly, a driverless car passes by, revealing itself as a specter. Suzuri's driver uses a shotgun with spell charm bullets to swiftly eliminate the specter. After the big battle, a bunch of car specters appear, but the driver quickly takes care of them. Then, out of nowhere, a red car shows up with the driver in trouble, begging for help. However, instead of helping, the car sucks the driver's life force away, killing him instantly. Turns out, that red car is actually a golem car, a super powerful car specter. It seizes Suzuri's driver, prompting her to attempt to stop it with her spirit summoning technique. Despite her efforts, the golem car is tough and quickly recovers, devouring Suzuri's driver. Now here's where things get intense. Suzuri tells Asano to kiss her to increase their spiritual energy, but he refuses. He doesn't want to betray Sakuya, but Suzuri warns him that if he doesn't kiss her, he'll die. Fortunately, Sakuya swoops in and defeats the golem car. However, the danger isn't over yet. The golem car creates a flame, forcing them to seek shelter inside a car. And guess what? The golem car gets back up and starts eating the car they're in. Suzuri desperately asks Asano to kiss her, but he's stuck in a position where he can't move. At that very moment, the only person Asano could kiss was Sakuya. The car they were in started to crumble. And in the chaos, Asano ended up kissing Sakuya once again. Asano started seeing these strange visions that seemed to be Sakuya's past. It was like a glimpse into her history. Pretty mind-blowing, right? Meanwhile, Sakuya didn't waste any time and used her powerful bow spirit technique and defeated that golem car once and for all. After all the craziness, they finally made it back to their own world. But here's the thing, Suzuri, being the persistent one, asked Sakuya if she wanted to have Asano all to herself. But Sakuya, being the awesome person she is, suggests otherwise. She understands the situation and decides to let Suzuri go her own way. And just when you thought things are settling down, someone in a mysterious white robe is watching them from afar. Elsewhere in a museum, not the British one, a security guard is strolling around at night when he is suddenly attacked by a samurai. A woman with a smirk slice opens a Buddha statue and obtains a magical katana. A few days have passed since the incident and everything seems to be normal again. As Asano and Sakuya head to school, they notice a fancy car stopping outside the school. Surprisingly, Suzuri and her assistant Matsuri come out of the car with the shocking revelation that she has transferred into their school. Afterwards, the guys of Asano's class are staring at Suzuri's treasures. Meanwhile, the girl wonders if Suzuri is somehow related to Sakuya and asks Asano since they both have the same last name. However, Asano brushes it off by saying he doesn't know as well. Later, in the chemistry prep room, Sakuya confronts Suzuri about her true intentions behind being transferred, to which she replies that she is here for Asano and that she was investigating another possible Spectre case. She also informed them that the Gloom car had traces of a magic circle, meaning that the Gloom car was summoned by someone. Suzuri then accuses Sakuya of the magic circle, claiming that if someone's using magical circle they would be a Western mage, angering Sakuya to the point that she slapped Suzuri without hesitation. Afterwards, as they get home, Sakuya is already in a bad mood. Asano tries to tell her to be good with Suzuri, but Sakuya throws a pillow at Asano. She informs Asano that people in her clan don't want her to be the next head. Upon asking why they don't want it, Sakuya shows her frustration that she just wants to seal as many specters as she can to prove to her family that she is capable enough to be the next head of the family. However, in order to cheer her up, Asano asks what she wants for dinner, to which she replies Irish stew. Later at night, after reminiscing about her conversation with Suzuri this morning, she goes for dinner, and just like every annoying brat, she refuses to eat dinner at first but eats it anyway. In the meantime, 3 men with weapons and a woman are in a tunnel when suddenly an undead samurai appears. One of the men rushes to attack it, but his spear goes through it. The undead samurai lifts him up and kills him with his spear. The other 2 men also attack, but the samurai easily defeats them. The woman tries to call for a backup when suddenly the undead samurai throws the head of her colleague and kills her without any mercy. Neichiko tells Sakuya about what happened, which makes her mad. She asks why they didn't tell her first, and Neichiko points to Suzuri, showing she's involved. Later, Suzuri can be seen confronting the undead samurai. She steps forward and uses Shimazu-style spirit summoning technique, Kame-tachi. The undead samurai slices it and attacks, but Suzuri dodges it and slices off his arms with another attack. However, undead samurai just picks it up and puts it back just like a Lego. However, Suzuri casts another attack, slicing off his whole body. On the other hand, Sakuya also arrives thinking that everything is taken care of, but the undead samurai rises again and summons more undead soldiers with him, beginning its attack. Suzuri uses the spirit summoning technique, while Sakuya employs the bow's spirit technique, taking out most of the clones, or so they thought. The clones then get back up as if nothing happened. With that, Suzuri asks Asano for a kiss, but Asano said he wouldn't do it without Sakuya's permission. She then asked Sakuya if she would kiss Asano, but Sakuya didn't give a clear answer. Instead, she told Asano to lure the specter with Temako's help. Asano followed Sakuya's plan and lured the specter, but it turned out to be a golem, not a specter. This golem had a special seal inside its helmet spelling out truth. They realized it was created using Western magic, so they knew how to defeat it. The plan relied on Asano. He had to erase the letters E and M to change it to death. Sakuya, Suzuri, and Temako protected Asano while he erased the letters. Finally, they managed to defeat the golem. Sakuya then notices a mysterious aura around the katana the golem was wielding. When she picked it up, the katana possessed her. It was revealed that the katana contained a strong spirit from the beginning. This was all a trap. Asano then noticed a mysterious woman in the sky, revealed to be responsible for not only this incident but also the Gloom car incident. Fully possessed by the katana, Sakuya began attacking the others. Suzuri decides to kill her, but Asano steps in to defend her, getting injured by Suzuri's attack. Asano then confronts the possessed Sakuya, grabbing the katana before she could attack. However, the katana made contact with his mouth, causing Asano to see visions again, but this time, he learned the katana's true name, which is Yashao, when he tamed the katana. Afterwards, Sakuya reloads her bow and shoots arrows with an extreme aura, but the mysterious Western mage easily stops it and escapes while laughing like a freaky witch. The following day, the group discusses the mysterious Western mage in the chemistry prep room. Asano informs Neichiko that even the spell that took out the lightning beast didn't work on her. However, Sakuya, again with her bratty personality, says that she will take her out next time. But looks like Suzuri doesn't agree with her statement, which almost leads them to fight, but Neichiko reveals that they have an ace up their sleeve since Asano is with them. Turns out, he has the Eye of the Truth. This discovery leaves everyone stunned, while Neichiko adds that this ability allows him to figure out others' true name. Furthermore, no one else in the entire generation has this ability, which explains why Asano has such large amounts of spiritual energy. Sakuya doesn't believe her, and so to prove it, Suzuri puts some markings on their behind with some electric spark and is about to kiss him, but quickly let him kiss her spirit animal, and somehow Asano is able to tell his name, which is Gonto. Neichiko adds more to it, saying that he can only learn someone's true name by having mouth-to-mouth contact. The annoying brat says that she doesn't feel anything when Asano kissed her, to which Neichiko asks him about it if he saw anything particular about her. Despite seeing thing, he chooses to hide it. Later at home, Asano is cooking, and as he is about to taste it, Sakuya throws a plate at him, saying that it will be an indirect kiss and wants her food separate from him and leaves. I hate this girl so much. The following day, the girls are talking about a new transferred student in the school. Meanwhile, Asano is thinking about kissing, and suddenly his friend appears and starts teasing him for it. Later, Neichiko informs Sakuya about the investigation team searching around the school. Sakuya wants to send them back, but her grandmother, who's on the call, refuses to do that as the team is sent by Sajiri. The grandmother tells her to capture the enemy as soon as possible. She also orders her to do something about Asano according to the Shimazu family law. As she leaves, Suzuri tells Sakuya that she is not capable enough of completing the task. In the meantime, the investigation team is searching for the specter, and as they are walking, one of them gets taken away. Back to Sakuya, who meets Asano on her way down, but slips and falls. Luckily for her, Asano saves her by putting one of his hands on her shoulder. Sakuya begins avoiding him, fearing that he may learn her true name. Elsewhere in the school, 3 investigators search in a classroom when suddenly one of the girls gets sucked into the wall. The girls try to help, but ends up getting sucked into the ground as well. Somehow, Asano finds himself under Sakuya, but suddenly they hear some noise and see magical barriers outside. It looks like the Western mage has returned. The duo, along with the group, rushes to the school's roof. Without wasting any time, Sakuya attacks her, but she defends herself effortlessly. The Western mage reveals that this time she's holding a few students hostage. Sakuya attacks the wall monster, but it hides inside the concrete. Suzuri and others also join in attacking the monster, but it doesn't seem to be affected much. Sakuya then uses her special techniques on the monster, successfully destroying it. But unfortunately, this also results in the death of the investigators. The Western mage then flees to some old building where the group gets literally caught in a web by a spider-like specter, and some of their life force begins to drain. Left with no other option, Asano forcibly kisses Sakuya even though she didn't want him to. This act not only increases Sakuya's spiritual energy but also causes Asano to see the same visions he saw when he kissed her last time. In these visions, a man in a robe gives a bird plushie, through which he learns that Sakuya's true name is Isuka, the same name as the anime. Sakuya jumps out and defeats the spider specter, freeing everyone, but at a huge cost, as Asano has now become Sakuya's master. The following morning, Asano prepares Sakuya's lunch while she is having her breakfast. But when Asano appears in front of her, Sakuya gets up and leaves. Asano chases her with her lunch. Suddenly, Sakuya stops at the front door and remembers that Asano is her master now and takes the lunchbox while showing her frustration. Later at school, Neichiko informs Asano that Sakuya is avoiding her because she is just afraid to lose her right to become heir to the family throne. Asano wonders why she would be afraid, to which Neichiko reveals that knowing someone's true name means you submit your will to someone else, and according to Shimazu family law, a person like this should be exiled. Neichiko asks Asano to take care of her as she has no one else. Later in the evening, when Asano gets home, he gets to experience something you guys can never. Tamako rushes towards him and puts her talents on him. Meanwhile, Sakuya watches them with disgust. The following day at school, Asano is watching Sakuya when suddenly Suzuri intervenes. As they both talk, Suzuri almost tells the class about the forced kiss between them, but luckily Asano stops her. Suzuri then requests Asano to grant her power, but he refuses. Somewhere else, a girl is playing a video game when someone asks her to lead. She steps out to find many people waiting for her, and then begins a meeting to discuss what to do about Sakuya Shimazu. As the annoying girl and the teased guy walk home, Sakuya trips and falls. Seizing the opportunity, Asano steps forward and helps her up. Later, Asano takes her to the seaside where he apologizes and tells her that he did not know about her chances of being expelled from the family. Upon asking, Asano tells her everything he saw, but also informs that he does not know what was happening at all. However, Sakuya informs Asano that her father loves seeing the ocean every day. Asano wonders why she doesn't go to her father, who is living in Kamakura, but Sakuya reveals that he does not. Sakuya concludes that both her father and mother went missing 8 years ago. She tells him that they went to fight a specter with Neichiko and her grandmother, but her parents did not come back. Moreover, Neichiko and grandmother do not answer upon asking. Even talking about them became a taboo among the family. Sakuya explains that a person's magic comes from their family genetics. She reveals that although the Shimazu family once had strong magical abilities, her father's Western magic heritage tainted her bloodline. This caused others to hate and reject her. However, Sakuya reveals that this is the reason she wants to become the head of her family so she can make them recognize her with brute force and find out where her parents are. Later, as they get home, Tamako tells them that a package sent by someone named Takeharu for Sakuya. After opening, they find an old mirror. But unexpectedly, both Asano and Sakuya get sucked into it. Afterwards, they find themselves in front of the main family house. Suddenly, they both hear a noise, so Sakuya draws an arrow, but she is surprised to see her parents instead. She becomes emotional and rushes towards them, but suddenly another Sakuya arrives and attacks, saying she will protect her father and mother. Meanwhile, everyone is gathered at Sakuya's house discussing the mirror. Suzuri informs them that the mirror is a specter who uses a person's negative emotions and toys with them. Tamako gets angry and scratches the mirror. But Nechiko tells her that breaking the mirror will result in them being trapped forever, and the only way to come out is to defeat the mirror from inside. Meanwhile, the duo is busy fighting another Sakuya who is equal strong as original one. The other Sakuya reveals that she wants to become the head of the so she can take revenge from the people who detested her. However, Sakuya refuses as she only wants to be recognized and find her parents. Suddenly, she gets transported to the Ferris wheel where she sees her younger self crying and revealing that once she will become the head of the family, she will kill everyone. Suddenly, the mysterious Western mage from before appears as she enjoys seeing Sakuya's being in pain because of her troubled past. Asano asks her why she is doing this Sakuya, to which the Western mage replies that she hates her and Shimazu for killing her. As they're about to touch hands, Sakuya almost gives in to her past self, but just in time, Asano snaps some sense into her, reminding her she's not that girl anymore. He promises to stay by her side until she reunites with her parents. Seeing this, the spirit flees, but Asano chases after and kisses it, learning its true name, Kuisuisan. Sakuya swiftly seals the spirit away with her arrow, shattering the mirror and returning them near an amusement park. Overcome with emotion, Sakuya cries, and Asano comforts her. On their way home, Sakuya asks Asano to make her Irish stew until they find her parents. Though hesitant at first, Asano agrees. Strangely, Sakuya appears in good spirits and offers to shop with him. After a really busy day at school, Asano walks home and spots Sakuya, who seems upset. She's been waiting for Asano for a while, but he doesn't remember her telling him to meet after school. Listening to this, Sakuya suddenly blushes, but however she excuses by saying that they don't know when the mysterious Western mage will send more specters after them, so it's better to walk home together. Later, as they get home, Tamako rushes to welcome Asano by showing him some heaven. However, Asano pushes her away and tells her to wear some clothes at least. Tamako shows them some clothes, saying that she is trying to wear them, but she is not able to figure it out. Suddenly, Sakuya notices and sees her clothes spread all over the floor. Asano also forbids her to take someone's things as it comes into stealing. However, he also tells her that Sakuya's clothes are too small for her. This angers Sakuya and she tries to slap him, but first time in anime history a main character is able to evade an attack by an annoying brat. Sakuya tries to attack but trips down, and somehow anime logic kicks in and they end up on each other. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the mysterious Western mage is talking to some masked figure and complaining to him why she doesn't let her handle the situation, which would have been much easier than using specters. But after hearing the masked man's apology, she blushes and reveals that however it would be fun to kill Sakuya when she is in despair. Back at the duo, Asano is cooking when Sakuya also comes to the kitchen. Seeking this opportunity, Asano apologizes for earlier, to which Sakuya brushes off, saying that she isn't small because she wants to be, but Asano replies saying that he doesn't care how she looks, to which she gets angry and saying that he must like girls like Suzuri, but Asano refuses and gets close to her. As they both blush and about to kiss, Nechiko calls him. With that, he leaves everything and rushes to meet her. Nechiko then gives Asano the katana he tamed before. She tells him to keep it as it can be useful to fight specters. Sakuya wonders if Asano knows how to use a katana, but Nechiko reveals that the katana is now his servant and will do the work for him. The following day, Ukubo and Asano peek at a girl doing kendo. Meanwhile, Sakuya, Kani, and Fuzuki pass from nearby, wondering if Asano also likes peeking, but after knowing that he is looking at girls doing kendo, that annoying brat actually didn't get mad and tells her friends that he might be interested in kendo. Later, while waiting for Asano, Sakuya comes across Suzuri. She asks if it's true that Asano will be fighting on the line as he has now accepted Yashe. Suzuri then reveals that she worries about Asano and blames Sakuya for involving him in all this and leaves. For their next investigation, they are in a train station. Nechiko informs them about an incident that happened with a train. After walking for a bit, they come across the poor train. As they enter it, they see a bunch of unconscious people. Matsuri checks every passenger, and fortunately, even though their life force has been sucked, they are not in danger. The group then leaves to search out for the specter. Suddenly, they see a fire coming towards them. But Suzuri informs that if it was fire or smoke, the fire alarm would have been activated, revealing it to be a smoke specter. Sakuya steps forward and attacks the specter, but her attacks seem to have no effect at all. Tamako then rushes to attack. At first it seems like she did something, but the smoke specter literally eats her and surrounds her with smoke so she can't escape. Nechiko forbids her to breathe as she can die. Suzuri immediately uses her summoning magic and saves Tamako. Nechiko then notices that the smoke specter is trying to corner them, so they decided to retreat to the next station while the smoke specter continued to chase them. After running for a while, they think they've outrun the smoke specter, but it suddenly appears in front of them. Sakuya attempts some attacks, but they seem ineffective. Then, they come up with an idea to find an exhaust fan. However, the smoke specter anticipates this move and shields the fan. Asano decides to take the risk and slices through the smoke specter through Yashao, but as he was about to approach the button, the smoke demon gets him. Asano tries harder and finally presses the button. Fortunately, the smoke specter sucks, but Asano falls unconscious. Matsuri checks him and reveals that he doesn't have any pulse and asks Sakuya to provide him CPR. On the other hand, Suzuri leaves to search for the smoke specter. As she is searching for it, she comes across the mysterious Western mage hanging out with the smoke specter. Suzuri attacks, and in the second attack she takes out the smoke specter with her wind magic for harming Asano. Suzuri then challenges the Western mage, to which she replies with a grin, saying that her father didn't stop her from fighting Suzuri. Back to the group, they are still trying to wake up Asano with a really sus CPR. Meanwhile, Suzuri is fighting the Western mage, but her attacks don't affect her opponent. The Western mage then attacks and destroys Suzuri's clothes, giving us some fan service. Suzuri tries to retaliate, but the Western mage stops her summoning and destroys Gonto. Back at the train station, a bit later, Asano finally wakes up and they leave to check out Suzuri. The group is stunned to see the Western mage and Suzuri floating. The Western mage then just throws her away, but fortunately, Asano catches her and Matsuri tries to heal her. Watching this angers Sakuya as she can't see her loved ones keep getting hurt by her. Upon asking, the Western mage reveals her name, Isuka. According to her, this was given by her father as well. Upon hearing this, Sakuya removes the red rope from her bow, revealing it to be a seal. A golden aura surrounds her, indicating her godly powers. She launches an arrow that breaks through the barrier created by the Western mage, leaving her severely injured. However, all that immense power comes with a cost. That single attack put so much strain on Sakuya's body that it caused her to go into a coma. Nechiko explains that after removing the bow seal, it becomes a really strong weapon as it drains whole spiritual energy from a person that can even cause death. Nechiko reveals that fortunately they now have Asano who can just transfer his spiritual energy into her body. However, he has to kiss her, so the group leaves them alone in the room, but it's still not enough for that loser to do something. Meanwhile, back at the Shimazu head family, the shadowy girl declares that Sakuya won't be getting any punishment in future, but Sajiri, Suzuri's mother, seems to nod of it as she highlights Sakuya's actions and declares them as grave mistakes. The girl in the shadows informs Suzuri's mother that Sakuya has also rescued her daughter from the Western witch. Suzuri's mother tries to argue, but Suzuri gets up and agrees as she calls the girl in shadow as her grandmother. Later, while on his way to shop, Asano meets Suzuri, who asks about Sakuya's health and offers to go shopping with him, which he gladly accepts. Afterwards, they come across an ice cream parlor where Suzuri reveals she never had ice cream in her life, so Asano goes to get some. Not long after, someone bumped into Suzuri, causing her shirt to get an ice cream stain. With that, Asano takes her to buy some new clothes, where Suzuri reveals that she wears everything that her mother tells her to. After shopping for clothes, Asano and Suzuri are stopped by Kani and Fuzuki, who accuse them for being on a date and threaten to inform Sakuya, but eventually leave. However, they are soon caught by Ukubo, who is shocked to see Asano and thinks that he is on a date. Asano takes Suzuri's hand and runs away with her. In the afternoon, both of them relax while having some ice cream, and Suzuri leaves as her car arrives to pick her up. While on her way, Matsuri gives some kind of clothes to Suzuri, asking if she is sure. Later, Nechiko, Matsuri, and Suzuri go into the woods and summon the lightning beast. Meanwhile, Asano scolds Sakuya for practicing even though she hasn't fully recovered yet. As they were talking, Tamako barges into the room and asks Asano and Sakuya to come with her. As they check, they are surprised to see injured Suzuri. Asano wants to help but is stopped by Nechiko as it's a ritual and Suzuri has to complete it on her own. Suzuri gets up, but Asano stops her as he is stubborn to help and does not care about Shimazu family laws. Nechiko also thinks it's a good idea and informs that she will consult the family's elder, and Sakuya also allows him to help. Afterwards, Nechiko and Matsuri drop them and inform them that this is the best they can do to help. As they walk towards the lightning beast, both of them start talking about Sakuya's selfish and bratty personality, but she reveals that Sakuya always seems to have fun. Asano tells Suzuri that from now on she will also have fun. Suddenly, the lightning beast appears and Suzuri uses her summoning attack twice, but it does not affect the beast one bit. Suzuri then remembers her childhood, where Sajiri is beating her to solve questions and telling her that she has to become the family's head without enjoying her life like Sakuya. Suzuri can be seen attacking, but the lightning beast just brushes off her attacks like it's nothing. Meanwhile, Nechiko is talking to the family's grandmother about how Suzuri wanted to make Lightning Beast her Shikigami, but has to fight harder because the monster is furious. More flashbacks from the past happen and reveal how Suzuri had extremely hard training by her strict mother. Back in the present, Asano tries to attack the Lightning Beast on its leg with his katana, but the beast sends him flying. Suzuri gets close to him when he reveals the opening that he created for her and passed out. Watching this, Suzuri kisses Asano and takes his powers. A golden aura builds up near her and she rushes towards the lightning beast and uses her summoning technique twice, but a stronger version. The smokes clear out and the lightning beast appears again without scratch. The lightning beast surprisingly talks and appreciates Suzuri's sudden increase in power. He then asks her why she wants to make him her Shikigami, to which Suzuri reveals that she only wants him to be her Shikigami for only 3 until then Sakuya will be the clan's head. Listening to this, the lightning beast laughs and admires her resolve and shrinks his size, indicating his submission. Later, Asano wakes up and is terrified to see the lightning up so close, but Suzuri tells him everything and also requests him to name it, so he decided to call it Shiro. Somewhere else, the Western mage is in a liquid pod when the masked man from before asks if it hurts. She addresses the masked man as father and answers with yes. The Western mage concludes by saying that she will take her revenge from Sakuya by herself. Back at Sakuya's place, Nechiko tells them that several important shrines and temples in Yokohama were attacked, including the Great Shrine of Eyes. She believes the attacker's goal is to weaken Yokohama spiritually. While everyone considers if it could be the work of the Western witch, Nechiko reveals that survivors saw a man behind the attacks. Listening to this, Sakuya leaves the room and starts practicing. As she practices, Sakuya tries to connect the Western mage claims of being Isuka and her father, but suddenly attacks Asano when he appears in the room and gets himself beaten for touching Sakuya's treasure. Afterwards, Asano tries to talk with Sakuya and wonders why the Western mage's true name is the same as hers. Moreover, Asano also advises her to keep calm, but she throws her shirt and runs away, saying that he cannot understand. The following day at school, Sakuya's friends wonder if everything is okay, but Sakuya brushes it off with a smile. Later after school, Asano is on his way home but gets sad when he does not find Sakuya at her usual spot waiting for him. Suddenly, Suzuri arrives and the duo decides to walk home. While walking, Asano asks Suzuri as he wonders if there can be 2 persons with a similar true name. At first, Suzuri stops and wonders, but then confirms as people choose the true name, which is very important to them. Back at the Sakuya's house, the group is discussing protecting Yamate Christian Church, as if it get destroys the city will be spiritually weak and open to the danger. Sakuya gets up and decides to go, but Nechiko and Suzuri reject the idea of her being in the team since she can't use her bow and the normal one wouldn't work. They prefer Tamako and Asano to go, but Sakuya gets up and takes Asano away. Sakuya tells Asano to stay at home because it's not only the Western mage but another person who is strong enough to defeat Shimazu's clan security. Sakuya also shares her fears, admitting she's scared that Asano might die if he continues fighting. However, Asano reassures her, saying she shouldn't worry because he promised to find her parents before anything happens to him. Later, the group arrives at the church and is shocked to see the security unconscious everywhere. Suddenly, the Western mage appears with her arm back to its original form and fully healed. The Western mage did some instant transmission and took Asano hostage. Tamako tries to attack, but the Western mage threatens to kill Asano and immediately leaves after biting his neck. Unfortunately, the church explodes, leaving the city in a critical situation. The following morning, Sakuya's home bells ring and Asano is stunned to see a small girl on the door asking for Sakuya. Suddenly, Sakuya herself appears and addresses the small girl as grandmother. Afterwards, everyone is around the grandmother, while Asano still can't believe that this child is their grandmother. Nechiko introduces her as the former head of the Shimazu clan and the current temporary leader. Sakuya tells Asano to not underestimate her old lady, as Tamako is so afraid that she did not even come to meet her. The grandmother speaks to Asano and addresses him as the Eye of Truth and someone who stole kisses from her granddaughters. The grandmother reveals her purpose of visit is to reseal Sakuya's bow, but she did not blame her as they were up against Asahana. Suzuri further explains that Asahana is the clan of Western mages that have been known in the capital for ages. More to the twist, Sakuya reveals that her father is from that Asahana clan. After resealing the bow, the grandmother forbids Sakuya from removing the seal and warns if she did she will die. Afterwards, Nechiko informs the grandmother that the Western mage girl has regrown her arm, which means she is a homunculus. Suzuri reveals that these are non-human entities made by humans, which is a normal practice for the Asahana clan. Nechiko then reveals that Asahanas are the archenemy of the Shimazu clan. The grandmother then wonders if Isuka name has any meaning to Sakuya, to which she refuses. Later, the grandmother takes a walk with Asano. She expresses a desire to speak with him privately. She offers to request Asahana and the others to leave him alone, ensuring his safety. However, Asano is content to stay with her. The grandmother then asks him to take good care of Sakuya. Suddenly, a portal opens from Asano's stomach, and the Western mage staff stabs through the grandmother, whom she addresses as Nami Shimazu, and laughs evilly, saying that she has finally taken her revenge. The evil witch then flies away, and a giant snake appears in the city, which is a level 3 monster and shouldn't be in the world of living. Sakuya flies to fight the witch, meanwhile the other rushes to fight the giant snake. Suzuri summons the lightning beast, and Nechiko summons a scary doll, revealing herself as the puppeteer. The giant snakes attack them, but the girls evade it and successfully land powerful attacks. Meanwhile, the grandmother's body turns into a puppet, and she asks Asano to take care of Sakuya. Back to the giant snake, who is like the video game boss with 2 HP bars and sheds its skin, revealing his steel-like scales. The snake sends Tamako flying, but fortunately Asano saves her. On the other hand, the lightning beast is also having problems fighting the snake. Sakuya is fighting with Western mage, and surprisingly she seems to be stronger than before, as she evades all her attacks and even damages her. The Western mage gets furious and chants a special spell that causes many magical things to float around her. The Western mage is more powerful than they assume, as she captures Sakuya with a powerful spell, but thankfully Sakuya's magic runs out and she falls down. Sakuya is then hanging on Shed's roof so she does not fall. Tamako instructs Asano to assist Sakuya while she and the others handle the snake spirit. However, the spell has caused Tamako's life force to decline. In a bold move, she steals a kiss, transforming into a more adult form. Together, the group engages in a fierce battle with the giant snake spirit. Despite their efforts, the spirit's skin undergoes a colorful transformation, becoming increasingly powerful with each attack. On the other side, the Western mage puts her foot on Sakuya's hand, prompting her to fall and die. Luckily, Asano arrives and saves her just in time. Asano asks the Western mage to leave Sakuya alone, but she gets frustrated, saying that her father also told her to leave Sakuya to the giant snake spirit, but she wants to kill Sakuya herself. Sakuya tries to fend off by attacking with her arrows, but the Western mage easily evades them and sends them flying into the house with a spell that sets fire to the house. Asano tries to stop her but gets thrown into the house with Sakuya. She apologizes to Asano for involving him in her troubles and orders her to run away as an employer, but Asano tells her he's here of his own will. He's seen the kindness and love hiding inside her cold personality. No matter what happens, he'll stay by her side. Sakuya's eyes fill with tears as she pulls Asano into a passionate kiss, which empowers them as they come out of the fire ready to fight the Western mage. The Western mage is shocked to see such a powerful attack. Sakuya attacks 3 arrows that severely injures to the point that she has to detach her arm and throws it away. On the other side, Suzuri notices that the snake's scales regenerate slowly after they're damaged. They decide to work together and attack while the snake is recovering. Tamako transforms into her beast form and delivers 3 powerful attacks in succession. Seeing the opportunity, Suzuri orders Shiro to attack and destroy the giant snake spirit for once and for all. The death of the snake angers the Western mage even more, and she attacks Sakuya aggressively. Sakuya wants to unseal the bow and risk her life again, but Asano stops her. Eventually, they defeat the Western mage by combining their power and cast such a powerful attack that kills the mage and her head remains. Suddenly, the masked man appears wearing Sakuya's father's ring. He grabs the doll's head and disappears while Sakuya calls him father. Even after getting home, she still thinks about her father but feels better when Asano assures her of his support. On the other hand, the masked man creates several more homunculus like the Western mage. That's it for today, my fellow men of culture. If you want to see as many treasure as this guy have seen in the whole series, hit the like button and subscribe the channel for more plot-filled recaps.